Welcome back into another Dragon Ball Super Card Game video, and today I did want to talk about our favorite dad in the Dragon Ball universe, and that is Piccolo. It is kind of a shame to see him not be played too often, or really at all. I wanted to talk through basically the whole entire archetype, my list, and kind of why it probably won't be played anytime soon. But before I do that, please, if you haven't seen it already, I put a community post in my or on my channel. Basically, all you have to do is go to my channel in the below and then go to the community page or even our Facebook, both of which I will link in the description below. And all you have to do is comment what type of content you want to see, and I'm actually giving away a gold cell custom leader. I'll cut over right now to all of the nice close-up shots and things like that. But if you want this courtesy of TCG Metals, he just wanted to go ahead and thank everyone for his support, and of course, well, just to me as well, and that he appreciates all the patience while he gets his printer repaired. But all you have to do is comment below. So comment in the community tab, not this video, but the community tab. So that way I can give someone that leader. Either way, we just had the Philly regional. We had a second place Trunks and a first place Bulma, and no Piccolo in sight. I don't really know the deck breakdown itself or the leader breakdown, but no top 16 Piccolo, which is kind of a bummer because you really don't see him really anywhere. And why is that? Why is Piccolo just not being played? He is a generically good leader, right? You can see it here. All he does is that he fills his deck with a good amount of Namekians. His front side says that you place one underneath him, you draw, and you look at the top 5 and you get another green or yellow one. You can awaken at 4, or if we have 2 underneath, you get to take life until 5, which is not too bad, and untap 1 and draw 1. So you basically awaken turn 2 pretty much every single time, as long as you swing twice. And then the awaken side is that you can pay cost for Union Absorb, which is pretty nifty with cards underneath this itself instead. And then you draw 2 after you pitch a Namekian, not just 1 card, which is kind of annoying. And the activate battle is that you place 1 card underneath from this card, and it gains 5k for that turn, which is pretty common nowadays. Now we need to look at Cooler, which he kind of does multiple ones. We have Goku and all these other leaders that kind of give you that filter from pretty much nothingness. I think overall he's a good generic leader, right? He's a yellow leader. He's not Saiyan, which is already deducting points. And then we also have pretty much all this other stuff that supports Namekian. So why is it not that good? Well, there's a couple of reasons. The first one that I'm going to go through is that it's Namekians. Namekians has always have been kind of given the short end of the stick when it comes to archetypes and the type of cards that it has access to, namely like the Bond when it first came out, and now all of these cards that don't really have barrier, but it also does have barrier for some of the older support that we're going to go through. Not only that is that you're a yellow leader, which if you're not a yellow Saiyan, then you don't have access to things like Turos or all these other things that yellow Saiyans have access to, and you're naturally already behind if your Namekian cards or the archetype that you have is not that great. And it turns out it's okay. I think the cards that it actually does have access to are just okay. And that's not what a DBS player wants, right? That's not what any player who's trying to win wants to actually have. We have the 1-drops that came out of set 17, basically giving you the options to do the same things with the same type of cards, just in different colors. So the 1-drops at the top basically say that you draw 1, or you look at the top 5 and you get a yellow or green Namekian from it. The yellow ones get a yellow instead, or the yellow 1-drop that is. And then the Union Absorb, which you can use your leader, of course, it just is a little bit awkward if you don't have yourself awakened, but usually what you do is that you pay 1 and then you awaken, you untap that 1 that you paid, and then from the cards underneath your leader you just use that to use Union Absorb, which is not nice, but you basically have these 3 and 4 drops, respectively 1 cost and respectively 2 costs, that you can play on top of these cards after you use that Union Absorb. And we also have these 3 and 4 costs, basically the multicolored ones and the non-multicolored ones. I think the multicolored ones are pretty good, and that's the ones I suggest, just because it has critical, this double strike, it has removal, and it has some interesting stuff as far as the activate battle. You switch to rest mode, and then you choose one of their battle cards in rest mode, 5 or less, and KO it, and then they discard one. The only weird thing about it is that you have to play these other extra cards to restand it, and then you use the activate battle and then KO and etc. So you're already clogging up your deck with some cards that you don't really need or want. And I only say that because you're comparing this to U7 Goku, you're comparing this to Trunks Gogeta, you're comparing this to Gamma, that does a lot of other stuff, and these are very I would say specified and requires a lot of setup. And I think that's where, you know, some of these Namekians are it just kind of falls behind the pack. The 4-drop Kami, or the 4-drop Fuse with Kami, is one of my favorites. It just has double strike critical, and it's a 24, so it's a little awkward for people swinging into it, and also getting swung into. And then you also get to pop 2 things, ignoring barrier afterwards. So if you're going against Trunks Gogeta and they, for whatever reason, swung with their Trunkses, you can go ahead and pop them. The other side of it is that fusing with Kami can easily be slided in or used to pop a 4 or less with barrier. And then the last Nail's Might, I think the newest champ pack, the one that I might show here, supports this one as well. But you can pop one thing in rest mode, and if it's their turn, you use this in a combo with your hand, you get to switch something in into active mode. So that fusing with Nail procs off there. Okay, but let's look at some of the older stuff that might help this deck be a little bit better. And I think, again, there's other stuff that is pretty good. I think the Assimilating Ability is one of the hyper cards back when this got revealed, where again, it's a barrier. It has Bond, where the activate battle, you get to pop something 5 or less, which is nice because a lot, I mean, this right now in this current format, I think a lot of people are playing battle cards. Unfortunately, a lot of them have barrier, but the ones that do kind of matter, 5 or less, sometimes don't have barrier. You can clear the board pretty easily for that, or I should say with that. And if you KO card, of course, draw one. Assimilate gets any of the 1-drops and any of the starter cards that you might need. It also fuels your drop and as well as your energy for Robotic Riposte. Super easy to get that extra card into the drop. It also has Super Namekian, which again, coupled with Assimilating Ability or even Kami Power Piccolo, it can do a lot of good damage, I would say, just being in rest mode, not being able to have them draw with non-leader skills, and it only costs pretty much 2 energy to get set up. Assimilating Ability getting the others slug, or even this slug getting the first slug, and simulate, sorry, gets the 1-drop, so that way you can play it out. So not too bad. Ancient Wisdom Guru is nice because you go down to 5, so this is going to be live pretty much turn 2, and I do believe it's searchable between the leader and as well as the other 1-drops that search top 5. We have the Nail, the champ pack one that I was saying before, that gets the fuse with Nail to the right here that we were talking about, and that one is actually not too bad. I think they choose the once per turn where it gains barrier if it has 3 or more underneath, and then you choose one of their energy and switch to rest mode, and it can't be switched. It's not too bad. It has barrier, you can just couple with Assimilating Ability or even Super Namekian, so I mean that's nice to have, I should say. Then we also have Kami Power Piccolo that I talked about before, just a constant KO, something that doesn't have barrier. I don't think it's very good, but it does have double strike and barrier in 20k, so it's not too bad. And you also have Frenzy Warrior Piccolo. I only added this because it has Deflect, because none of these other ones have Deflect. And it also, the Bond 3 is good if you actually have Bond 3, which isn't too bad, I think, in this deck, because it's most of the stuff is pretty cheap. A good amount of this stuff has barrier, like we were talking about, and it's nice to have them warp too, because it's one of the better abilities to actually to have, but also not very overwhelming. Is a little underwhelming. And then we also have some of these useless cards, sorry, but the Dende just dies too often. The Nail Protector does the same thing that everyone else does. The Kami is not great because it just draws 1, and who cares about the other permanent? I guess it's cool as a free combo, quote unquote. And then Weights on One's Shoulders, I actually play this at 1 or 2. I think I knocked it down at 1 at this point, but it is nice to have that plus up to 15k, and double strike for the battle for 1 energy. It's basically like your Champa. I think Champa should be added if you haven't already as well. And also you can switch your other card, the one with activate battle, to active mode and get it +1, so it's not too bad. Then we also have the real daddy of the deck, which is the new SCR. If you haven't checked out this SCR or have seen it played like throughout the regionals, or seen your friends or whoever you're playing against and you haven't went against it, I am very surprised that people are underestimating this card. I think it's probably the best card for yellow leaders. I would say, yeah, I would say so. If you're going to be playing a yellow leader, I think this is one of the best cards you can play as far as secrets go. It just does so much as far as draw, to tap something down, to get you to up to 30k or to 30k. It finishes games. It is a 40k body. You can put a chomp on it if you want to, etc. I can't express how much I love this card, and I am very happy that this is a Gohan card as well. So here's the reason why Piccolo is not going to be played, which sucks, because when I make these videos, I really do enjoy these archetypes. I'm a little late with this one, but oh well. The reason why he's not going to be played is because it's just like Trunks Vegeta is just a better option, right? I think Icarus, with Icarus just gone and errated to hell, like people are just trying to find a better yellow leader. I think with the Top Cut results, and as well as just in general, the consensus is that if you want to play yellow, then you play Trunks Vegeta if you really want to top or win. I think yellow Piccolo is in that area where if I'm gonna jam 10 to 15 cards as far as an archetype, I might as well just play the one that can remove barrier when swinging, the one that rests unisons, which unisons don't really have a really good check right now, so you may as well just use the Trunks, the barrier Trunks. And you also might as well just use some of the other archetypal benefits to being a yellow Saiyan leader and just being Trunks. I may have just spent a good amount of time just ragging on Piccolo, but I think the consensus is that I really do enjoy this deck. It just is a little underwhelming, and it doesn't really offer more than what we've seen already. Well, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I made a couple other yellow leaders, or at least yellow decks, with Golden Frieza and as well as the old yellow Gohan as well, with the blockers, the barrier blockers, etc. If you guys want to see that, I'm more than happy to talk through that and have some fun, even with some gameplay. But if you do want to see some gameplay for this, like the video, get it to 40. I will make a gameplay video with it. If not, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.